Greetings, and salutation. Welcome to another program with Mind Ministry. Today, Thursday, on a special night. Today, Thursday, all in English. We want to welcome you. We want to say thank God for you. We are expecting great and wonderful things today. We are talking today about my past and my spouse. My past and my spouse. Very interesting subject matter, and we're gonna have a great time in our conversation. We want you to as always, we like you to participate. We love to read your comments. We want you to share this program. Again, this is another wonderful program of Mind Ministry. Welcome. This is your host for today, José Vélez, thanking God for you and for yours. Please like and share this page, share it with someone else, call somebody, text somebody, let somebody know that Mind Ministry is on the air. And again, today's topic is my past and my spouse. Sounds very intriguing to me. And I cannot do this alone. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing and having with me Brother Alex Rua, who's with us today. Hey, all right. How are you, Alex?
Great. Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me for this program. This is a wonderful topic, and I'm really excited about it.
This is it just hit me. I mean, I've been reading this subject, this topic over and over again, but it just like dawned on me. Oh my God, yeah, my past and my spouse. In some of our heads, those two should never meet. Right, but we're gonna discuss it today. Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So between my wife and I, we own. I can't think right now. Old age, man. Old age. DLC Consultants Inc. I couldn't think of the name.
I hear that.
DLC Consultants Inc. It's a non-for-profit ministry where we focus on coaching couples and providing tools for couples and families, young adults, so that they can develop better relationships at home.
Awesome.
Focus. We have a book that we wrote together, and she has a prior book, both in Spanish, hopefully English coming soon. I am in the process of writing my own book for self-help for men specifically. We're doing God's work and see where God can use us best.
Awesome. That's a gift to the body of Christ. Now, how long you been doing this?
We have been doing marriage mentoring for, it'll be 6 years. It was 6 years this month, actually.
Awesome. That's great, man. Thank God for it. So we're gonna jump right in. Huh? Say that again.
My wife got me into it.
I hear that. That's good. Well, thank God for. I think I met you guys a couple of years ago in the first in Fort Lauderdale when we had that first regional
Liberty City. Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys had nice motorcycles, or you had just come from a motorcycle ride and something like that. So you guys, and certainly, I believe your wife sang during that service, and I could testify that the sister's anointed. So thank God for you. Right?
That's how she stole my heart.
I hear that. Thank God. So let's jump right in. Before we start, let me give a shout out to our CEO, Sister Evangelist Francesca Diaz. She is the visionary. She is the tool that God has used to create this Mind Ministry, and is blessing the world. And we thank God for her and her vision. Amen. Great things are to continue to happen for her and for this ministry. Thank God for you. Again, share this video, like it, put your comments in there. We will welcome them as we go. So, Alex, First question: what biblical character do you can you identify yourself with in this season, and why?
It's funny when you send me that information. I was actually talking to my mom, and I was like, who do I identify with in the Bible? Because when it comes to the path through life, I'm actually at a pretty decent point of my life, but I have struggled. I have gone through a lot of struggles and a lot of phases and a lot of difficult situations. So I think the one that I could relate the most with will be Job. And I know you probably hear that a lot, but at one point in my life, I actually lost everything. And God has blessed me with everything that I've lost and more. So I'm at that point where when Job went through his struggles, met God, and came back, and he was blessed once again for being faithful.
Well, thank God. Job is certainly an extraordinary. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do Job. I could preach about Job, right? Preach about Job, but I don't know if I want to live Job. You know what I mean? So thank you. Thank you
Life
for
can be
sharing.
tough sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna. I know. I certainly know. One of Joe's one of Joe's main thing was God's restoration. How He gave him double at the end of his story. But here it is that some of us we enjoy the fact that God says that at the end of Job it says, and God gave him double. We just don't enjoy the process of losing everything.
No
You know,
one likes the process.
double. No one like that. Yeah, I'm going to testify. I'm telling you right now. I I will be. I will be. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. But thank you for sharing. So let's start by identifying what is past. What is a past? And obviously, I'm sure you get to dive into this second part of this first question. What is marriage? Right. So it's two questions in one. What is a past? And then what is marriage?
So that's a loaded question, right? What is past? How do each person defines their past? Is it what made me who I am today? Is it all my traumas from the past? Is it everything that I've been everything that makes me cry, or everything that makes me smile from my past? And I think it's when I think of my past,
Mhm.
I think it definitely constructed my character today. It definitely, in a way, made me who I am today. Where we fall into uh, uh, a sinkhole, if you will, is what we think the past is a sentence. Like, I
Mhm.
am my past. You're not your past. The past is a lesson, not a sentence. You grow, you learn from your past, from your path through life, and you use that to become a better person in the future. We A lot of times we get stuck in the past, and we think, I can't get better because I did this, because I did that, I went through this, I went through that.
Mhm.
Um, and the fact of the matter is, we all have our stories. We all have um our traumas from the past. Like, I'm a suicide survivor, and that's how I came to meet God. When I tried to commit suicide and it didn't work, and I'm sitting there on a balcony saying, "Hey, I'm drunk. I have a cigarette in my hand," and I said, "God, if you truly exist, get me out. Otherwise, I'll do it myself." And
Wow.
obviously, and that was on a Sunday night. Monday morning, I come to work. My boss says, "Hey, there's a position in Florida. Do you want it? If you want it, I'll recommend you." Out of nowhere, I didn't apply. I wasn't looking for it. Um, and he knew I was going through a very difficult time in my life. He was my crying shoulder a lot of times, and I went for it. I got interviewed Wednesday. I got offered the position Wednesday afternoon, and Friday I was getting in my car, packing everything that I could, and driving down to Florida.
Wow. Fresh start.
The fresh start. And I do believe that God has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Uh, I get over here, and my mom says, "Hey, do you want to go to church?" And I remember, the commitment
Wow.
that I made, right? If you get me out, I'm
For
going to
sure.
follow you. and my mom takes me to a church in Longwood here in Florida that's called A New Beginning.
Okay. Wow. There you go.
That's
There you
right.
go.
So
Yes.
I just smiled when I saw that name. I just smiled like, really? Okay, I see how this
That's,
is gonna go. And this is
that's
the church where I met who would become my wife. And my father-in-law was a Bible school teacher, and God made sure that I was surrounded by people who were going to be able to keep me in the path and in the path of growth in the gospel. And my father-in-law is a teacher, a Bible school teacher. He's been a teacher for decades. My wife has been a teacher for over 20 years. So he made sure that I surrounded myself with people that were going to be able to guide me and help me through.
well, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. God does certainly either has a sense of humor or wants to make sure that you get the point, right? And that all that happened within a matter of weeks, right? The
Literally weeks.
facility,
Yes.
the job offer, by the afternoon you have it, and then by the end of the week you're on your way. You go to a church called New Beginnings. That's awesome. So about how about the marriage point? What is marriage?
So marriage, we have a very distorted definition of marriage as a people, right? We think marriage is a job. Marriage is something that every man and woman are required to do based on our culture and our customs. But marriage is a lot more than that. Marriage is a commitment that I'm making with God and my wife, and it's I'm giving myself to both God and my wife, and God is the center, the glue that keeps my home together. So uh, when we through life we learn, we acquire tools through our parents, through our uncles, through our grandparents, and those tools sometimes those the things that we learn may not be the best, and we carry those tools and those teachings into our own homes and our own marriages, and realize that it doesn't work. Now it's become a job because the tools that I'm using are not working. They're making things difficult. We're not setting the stage right, and where we fall short in our church environment is that
Mhm.
we're not teaching people, making sure they have the right tools for marriage. Like, we get ready for everything else, right? We get ready when we're buying a house. We make sure that we do our research. We make sure that it's a good investment. When we buy a car, when I bought my Harley, I made sure that I knew every detail about the Harley. But when we
Make
get
sure
married,
make sure we know it's a Harley.
that's right. When we get married, we don't do any research. We just say, "Hey, I like this girl, and I want to marry her. See how it goes." And that's where we fall apart, because marriage is not the thing you just want to go and see. You don't test drive marriage.
Right.
You invest in it.
That's it. That's awesome. That's a great analogy. Um, so we could say marriage is a pact, is a covenant, it's a partnership, right? So
Absolutely.
here is the question. And you led us in perfectly. We you and I met, a couple of years ago, and we just spoke a few minutes ago, but we didn't talk about, uh, you know, like I didn't know that part of suicide and all that stuff. So it leads us in perfectly to this great to this next question, because so when it comes to marriage, how important it is to share your past with your spouse. Um, a common question before reaching marriage is the following: does my past matter? Should a person tell his partner about his or her past, even if it risks losing? Now, I would, before you answer, we just want to, let the people know that are hearing us live and those that will hear in the future that this is by no means professional counseling session or anything like that. We're just talking, right? Don't go around, saying that Alex said this or whatever, right? So there you go. Help us out. Help us to understand, right? You left, once you got to New Beginnings and you met your wife. How important is it to share your past, even if it costs losing it?
So my I would have to start that with a question, right?
Okay.
Why do we keep a secret?
Okay.
We fear consequences, right? We keep a secret because we have a fear of being judged, uh, being labeled a certain way. There's a fear that comes with what we've been through.
Mhm.
If I was to tell, there may be women out there that if I was to tell, hey, I tried to kill myself at one point, that might rule me out as a partner, right?
Right, 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 right.
So a lot of people may fear letting that out. And of course, it's talking about your past. You don't want to just go on a first date and say, hey, this is me in a nutshell. You know,
Right,
you,
right,
you
right,
that's part of your developing of the relationship, part of your conversation, getting to know each other.
right.
But to answer the question, I don't believe there's any space for secrets in a relationship. You're one. The
Mhm.
Bible says we become one with our spouses. So there can't be any secret. I don't have a secret for myself, and I can't have a secret from my wife. Now, if my wife decides, over or a girlfriend decides, you know what, this is not the relationship for me because of your past, then that's a risk that we have to take. Who knows? Maybe you dodged a bullet. Maybe that relationship was never going to work. One of the things, funny enough, that attracted me to my wife and made me say, you know what, I'm going to marry this woman, is in one of our very early conversations. I was one of those guys that let it all out, like in a conversation with her through Facebook Messenger. Actually, I let her know, no filter, everything there was to know about me, everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And to my surprise, she didn't run away. She actually she gave me advice. She didn't judge. She literally tried to understand where I was coming from. And that sealed the deal for me. That was the moment where I said, you know what, I'm going to marry this woman. And I didn't even I didn't even know her at that point, but it really makes a difference, and it really says a lot about the person that you're
Mhm.
trying to date and trying to get to know when you confide a personal secret, a personal trauma that you may have gone through, and
Mhm.
their response to that actually says a lot, and will give you a lot of information as to whether you want to move forward with this relationship or not. uh, but yes, absolutely, you should definitely, if you don't trust your partner enough to tell them your secrets, then there's a lot more issues with this relationship than just a secret, because I don't have
Absolutely,
confidence in my partner.
absolutely. That's great. But this is not part of the question. I'm just gonna add this.
Sure.
I'm I'm sure there are men. We were just talking how we don't like to go to doctors, right? We were just we were just saying how we could be sick and we just don't want to do it, right? There's people that right away cantar, so I gotta go to the hospital, whatever. Men, for the most part, we don't want to be bothered. Uh, that being said, how hard is it for a man to open up to his future wife, fiance's girlfriend about his past? How was it? How was it? How tough was it for you, if you will?
My story is a long story. My past is actually very chaotic. Uh, so it was very difficult. I was coming from a divorce, so I wanted to make sure that she knew everything there was to know about me, because I couldn't afford for another relationship to not work. So if you're gonna be with me, be with me. If you're not gonna be with me, run away. Don't break
Right.
my heart, right? So how difficult is it? In my opinion, at least, it's one of the hardest things a man will ever have to do. Dealing with emotions, opening, being vulnerable to someone who has ability to hurt us, but we're trusting that they will not, right? That's what love is about. You're giving someone the power to hurt you, trusting that they will not. And when we let our emotions out, we do exactly that. I'm giving you the power. I'm giving you everything. I'm giving you the key to my heart. You can do whatever you want with it. I'm trusting you to take care of it. And especially for a man, it's that much harder because when a man gets hurt by opening his heart, then that is on lockdown. You threw the lock on and threw away the key. It's incredibly difficult for a man to open up again after he's been hurt. So it is literally one of the hardest things that a man can ever do, and it's something that we have to do. A lot of men don't know how to deal with their emotions. A lot of men don't know how to open up. You go through life knowing, hey, you're going to have to take care of your family. You have to work. You have to put a roof over your head. You have to put clothes on your children's back. You have to take care of your wife, take care of your home, fix things when things get broken. Be the crying shoulder for your wife when she's hurt. Be the crying shoulder for your kid when he falls off the bike. But no one teaches you how to be who's your crying shoulder for a man, who's your go-to. How do you vent?
Right.
How do we vent? Well, when I'm working on the Harley and something doesn't work, you hear the tools jumping around in the garage. That's me venting. Right? That's normally what we do. That's normally how we vent. We scream, we say a couple of things, and we throw a few things around, and that's how we're taught to vent, through violence, through screaming, through acting out, through our behavior. And we've been taught over generations that's the way a man does it. That's the manly thing to do. So when you see a man that's crying, that's vulnerable, you're like, well, he's weak. No,
Right.
that's a man who's in touch with the emotions. That's a man who's got healthy emotions. Even a man who can cry, a man who can talk about his emotions and can vent out in a normal conversation, even if you're drowning your tears. That's a healthy man right there. That's a man's man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, there was a sister there, I think her name was Anne Marie, that stated, there you go. She said, secrets lead to issues in the future. So, as a marriage coach that you and your wife, your company does now, is there some testimonies that you could share with us of couples that went into a marriage, someone had a past, it wasn't shared, and now they're doing counseling, right? And can you share what potential damage can it do to the marriage, and how was it, if possible, possibly worked out?
So one I can give you one example that comes to mind that was a kind of a big deal. Was a person who suffered sexual abuse in their childhood, and they were having sexual um, issues with the partner. Uh, they didn't know why. They didn't know the reason why. You know, it wasn't working. I couldn't be as romantic or as caring in the act as the partner wanted it to be. And the reason is I have this trauma that's inside me that I swept under the rug and no one knows about it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I don't want anybody to know because I don't even want to not be not it, at that point it's not even a trust issue, is I don't want to deal with it.
Right.
I put that in the biggest, deepest dark hole of my soul, and I never want to see it again. But it doesn't mean it doesn't come out. It comes out through your behavior. It comes out through your actions. It comes out through your frustration. Uh,
Mhm.
so people, sometimes you see a lot of people on your day to day that are just easily frustrated, easily very explosive, and you wonder, why are these people so mean? Why are these people so bad? And we put these labels on them, and these are people that are psychologically speaking, these are people that have been traumatized, that are uh, emotionally weak because of their injury, and no one has taken the time to say, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Talk to me." And especially in a marriage environment, in a relationship environment, you close off our automatic auto defensive mechanism of psychology. It closes your emotions for your own protection. So when a man goes into a relationship, or female for that matter, we've seen females as well that are closed off emotionally. That is our huge clue, huge red flag to say, let me find out what's going on behind. What is, I see the symptom. What is the root cause of that symptom? Let's talk. Let's sit down. And it may not be easy to get through to the person, and it may not be easy for them to, open up. And we've seen a lot of people who completely deleted that from their memory, who truly do not remember, and they don't know why they are a certain way, and they end up needing professional help in order to open that Pandora's box so that you can confront it and deal with it and heal from it, so that you can move forward from that. Because our mind is a wonderful thing. Our brain is a wonderful thing. It protects us. Like, people study for decades and generations and still haven't figured out exactly how our psychology works.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're talking with Alex Rua. The topic today is my past and my spouse. Um, Very interesting. I think I saw Francesca put uh, real talk, real man talk. I think she said, yeah, the real man talk. And a light bulb came in. I think perhaps Alex, next month, and we'll talk to our CEO there. Perhaps sometime next month, or depending on your schedule, we'll figure out a day, man, that we could do a real man talk here and just talk from a man's point of view. Just I think that's is needed. I absolutely needed, right? So say that again.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
So,
awesome. Not listen, I grew up with strong Puerto Rican men that you didn't share, you don't share nothing, you don't let emotion, be shown. You're strong, stop crying, you're a man. That's wonderful.
those are the tools that, as children, those are the things that we're taught
Yeah.
that define a man. Your lack of emotion, you're being, you're not crying, you fall off your bike and you just dust yourself off and get on the bike again, and don't ignore pain. Don't worry about it. Real men don't feel pain. We're Rambos of the world, and the Arnold Schwarzeneggers of the,
Yeah.
commando
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
people, and that's what we learned. Our generation learned that is what it is to be a man. And no one talks about emotions. No one talks about trauma. No one talks about how to heal from events in your life.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So we'll discuss it with Francesca, man, and hook up and have a session on real man talk. So the final question for you, Alex, you've done great.
Thank you.
You know, share with the people, ways, exercises to open up a healthy communication. Let me just read this from Doctora Dorelis Esquilin.
That's
Right?
the wife. That's the
I
wife.
think you know. I think you know her, right? I think you know her, right? She said the saddest part of secrets and trauma in relationship is that the individual is prone to place the fault in their outside environment and seldom look in the mirror. That's good. As coaches, that's the hardest situation to lead an individual to see the man, woman in the mirror. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Doc. That's a wonderful comment. Um,
That's something that we often discuss and teach through our sessions to a lot of couples is self evaluation, self getting to know oneself. Like, we never look in the mirror and say, how do you feel? Like, when was the last time as a man you looked in the mirror and said, hey, how you doing today? How
Yeah.
are your emotions? How do you feel? Like, honestly, like, with transparency, because we all want to look in the mirror and look, hey, I look like a real man today. I look awesome. But
Yeah.
when was the last time you actually looked at yourself in the mirror and said, honestly, what do you want to do today? What do you want to do with your life? You know, what are your goals? Like, when was the last time we spent time with ourselves and really got to know ourselves?
That's great. That's great, man. That's coming soon. That's coming soon. All right. So, here's a question from Sister Anne Marie Cruz. If there is one phrase that has always bothered me is real men don't cry. Oh, I thought it was a question as a comment. Real men don't cry. No one talks about how much that hurts a person in the long run. Listen, we don't want to get it. We don't want to get sidetracked. This is wonderful, Sister Anne Marie. Hey, if this is evident that it's needed, so we're gonna hook up. We're gonna hook up with Dr. Francesco. We're
It
gonna
is,
have
it
this
is a
real
great
man
topic. Absolutely.
that's powerful. Something just happened there, right? But give us let's say, I'm Jose, I'm about to get married, and I have this past that I haven't shared with my wife, or I'm already married, right? And man, my past is veering its ugly head. What are some techniques? What are some exercises to open those doors of communication?
I think number one is working with yourself in the mirror. Like, I'm a big fan of working with yourself in the mirror. We they tell you to practice that when you're interviewing for a position, when you're doing a preaching a sermon. Like, do it in the mirror. Look at
Right.
yourself. Work with yourself in the mirror. Right. So I do believe wholeheartedly that we need to start in the mirror. Like, what is it about this past that is so concerning? Is it that I'm not over it? Is it that it's still affecting me today? How is it affecting me today? And what is it that's causing on in me to have that secret? Right? Because a secret is a burden, is a baggage that we carry that we don't want anybody else to carry for us, or with us. So we will start with that. Second, make sure that you know you, the person that you're trusting with this information is truly a person that is deserving of that trust. We don't want to go around disclosing our past when we're dating. You know,
Right. Right.
if you're in a permanent relationship, if you're in marriage, or a person that you're intent on marrying, absolutely be transparent. Figure out how to break it in. And don't think about it for too long. The more you think about it, the less you're likely to do it. Just do it. Just get it done. There's a book that we had to read almost 20 years ago. It's called Eat the Frog. It's about facing your most daunting challenge first thing in the morning. If you have to eat the frog, do it first thing in the morning, get it done, then you can eat whatever you want. Eat the frog. Just get it done. You'll be happy you did it. You'll be done with it. The weight is going to be off your shoulders. You'll see the partner's reaction. You'll be able to have that conversation, and now you can face whatever circumstances you face after the secret is disclosed. Like, when I one of the things that we discussed with my wife after I disclosed all of my secrets was, how are they affecting you today? Are they affecting you today? Are you still being, are you healing from anything? Because whatever's affecting you today now involves her.
Mhm.
Whatever traumas I have from my past that I'm carrying and I'm still bleeding from. Now that she's becoming one with me, she becomes part of that trauma. She becomes part of that baggage. So, it's a fair question. How is it affecting you? Is it affecting you? What do we need to do to help you to get over that? And the fact of the matter is, there's a large percentage of people in our churches today that carry hidden baggage, and no one knows about it. There's people that contemplate suicide. No one knew that I tried to commit suicide. People
Absolutely.
closest to me didn't know that I tried it. My family didn't know that I was struggling. No one knew that I was struggling with mental health until I broke the news to everybody.
No.
And that information has been disclosed mainly, because I'm openly discussing it, and I didn't want for them to find out through Facebook. But
Right.
the fact of the matter is, if I didn't say anything to anybody, no one would know.
Right. Right.
And the fact of the matter is that most people who struggle with mental health do so in secret. And we have to be intentional. We have to inquire, especially about our significant other. We have to be in constant communication. How do you disclose that information? The way it worked for me is I just open the gates and let it out. That's how I did it. It worked for me. Uh, that's my recommendation. Just open the gates, get it out of the way, let it out.
That's it. And obviously, if this is the lady for you, or if this is the man for you, I'm assuming that they were able not only to hear it, but they'll be able to help you to be that structure, not be like you mentioned Job, not be like Job's wife and say, "Why don't you curse God and die?" Right? Uh, so
True.
listen, I want to tell you, Alex, that you have blessed me today. You have blessed me, and I'm sure that there are people here that are watching us live, and those who will watch the replay that feel the same. Thank God for you. Thank God for your wife and what you're doing. That's certainly needed. I got excited when I met you and your wife. Because in my mind, when I think about doctors, I think about doctors, schools, years of college and all that stuff. Sometimes I don't think about anointing, right? And when I was there in that first thing we had in Fort Lauderdale, and you guys were ministering, I said, man, they're doctors and counselors and all this, but they're not. They got God's, and it's important that people understand that, the world is the Lord's, right? And the church should be part of every aspect of this world, right? We can't just give it up to other people. So, this is great. So you have been a blessing to me today in more ways that I could explain to you right now. We will definitely reconnect and talk about that. Oh, that's nice. She's proud of her husband. That's awesome. We will connect and we'll have that conversation next month or so about real talk. But this has been Jose Vélez with Dr. Alex Rua, talking about my past and my spouse. And I hope you have enjoyed. I hope it's been a blessing to you as it's been for me. We thank God for you. Thank God for you, Dr. Rua, and thank God for you, your wife, Dr. Escalene, and for Evangelist Francesca. Thank you and have a great night.
Glory to God. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely.